Hello there, Vic Benedict here. We're playing Gears of War 4 on the Series X, and this is my insane difficulty guide and walkthrough. We're currently on Act 5-3. It is entitled Gatecrashers. So this is the second to last chapter, and for all the failings of Gears of War, whoever makes the titles does a really good job. I mean, it's not just one person, obviously, but I've always found that their titles are pretty good, in my opinion, but so Gatecrashers is the mech section, and for this section, it's not too bad. You're in a mech, but the controls are very similar to the regular standard controls for when you're just a human being, and the actual using of the rockets is going to be unlocked in just a few moments over here. Whenever you see the Y prompt, you can start using the rockets. And the only bad thing I'll say about this is that for some reason the rockets don't regenerate after a fight the way you would expect. So it's actually in your better interests when you get to a new checkpoint to just and here I'm running back like a coward because sometimes it doesn't feel like there's anywhere you can go because you're so huge on this thing, and you're always trying to find a place to hide when you're playing Gears of War. But that's why I ran back, because the cover is pretty poor there. If there's even cover, I'm not sure. Right there, it didn't seem like anywhere I can go into cover. But it's pretty decent, and the like I was saying though, it's in your better interest when you get to the checkpoint is to reset because that will give you all your rockets back. It's not mandatory, and the reason I don't do it is because it's actually easier for me when I'm editing the video to not have to edit and have those abrupt shifts in the video all of a sudden. It's just for my own preference. It's not out of laziness. It's just out of a desire to have everything as seamless as possible for when you're watching it. I know that sometimes you can't even notice the edits, but that's the idea, is that you don't notice them. But I didn't die too many times over here, and I hope that the same is true for you. This can be a hard place over here because, again, it wants you to push up, and sometimes falling back is not the easiest thing to do. And you got a couple guys with boom shots and things like that. They can kill you pretty badly, but it's not as bad as you would think. And that's a good thing. I mean, once we get to the end of the game, it's such a abrupt change that you're doing at the end here. It's we don't want it to be overly difficult because it's just do you want to have to spend I had to spend like a week doing the final boss for Gears of War 3, and that was just unnecessary because it's just it's not down to me so much as letting everything work out in my benefit. Have to wait so long for that to happen. That isn't to say though that the final boss can't be a little bit difficult and frustrating, but it's nowhere near the Gears of War 3 boss. That fight is atrocious. I think every boss, Gears of War 1, I think we can say that if you have power weapons, you're not gonna have a problem with that boss fight. But yeah, that RAM on Gears of War 1 would not be fun with the default weapons. That would be pretty atrocious. But even then, I mean, if you can't make a final boss, you have to have a specific weapon set for RAM. That's pretty bad too. But my overall impression of this particular chapter is that it looks really nice. It plays well. The frame rate's great, as as the rest of the campaign. But it's just a tad boring, and that's really too bad, because Gears of War is not boring. Definitely, this is just kind of it's just, I don't know. It's just, you're too big and clunky, and I don't know. I don't particularly care for it. I mean, it's a strange final boss. But here's the Swarmak over here, and yeah, this particular boss seems like it has a little bit too much HP, but you want to keep using the rockets. So if you don't know how to use those, you hold in the left bumper, and you command the airstrike. And there does seem to be a feeling of a disconnect between when you're playing the game, and it's like you're having somebody else do part of the normal combat that you would be doing anyway. So that's what I've always felt about the rockets. But the Swarmak itself, has its weak points, and you just want to be using the air support as much as you possibly can, because it's definitely the key to expediting all of these encounters. This would just take a really long time with the regular staple gun over here, but it's definitely, I mean, this is all we're doing. We're just behind one building back here, and when it shoots its rockets, we go back into cover, and I don't believe you can even get hit back here. So it's a safe chapter that just doesn't go beyond some basic functions of this. I don't know, this is just really strange. It's a fun idea and everything, but I've always just found, so Gears of War 1 had there's an okay final boss that has problems, but Gears of War 2, there's no final boss. Gears of War 3, it's an atrocious final boss. I would prefer to do nothing rather than do that shit. And the Judgment final boss on Declassified, it's even more atrocious. Excuse me. Gears of War 4, it's just a it's a strangeness, weirdness. What was Gears of War 5's final boss? I barely think it was anything. I mean, this is the legacy of this game. It's either a disgraceful final boss, you have no final boss, or it's just strangeness. So I've always just found that kind of funny, but I'm not gonna rib the game too hard about it. But there is also there's an evade with this particular mechanic here too. So you can evade, and you do have to evade on the final boss, and I think you can block if you want to, but it doesn't do anything. And there's a stomp as well, but the stomp, if you have to resort to using the stomp, your fight's probably not going really well for you, I would imagine. But thankfully, I didn't die too much. I did do a practice run of this chapter. I was also curious what would be going on in the lower difficulties if you're in this thing. Do you just get downed and have somebody revive you? I'm not sure. I played on hardcore just for a few minutes because I was just curious about what they would do about that. But I think on every difficulty, you just die, without getting revived. As for what's it called, the SWAT turn from cover to cover, I don't think they accommodate that on this, but I don't also think that the cover, it just doesn't, I don't think they have that feature with this. But how overall difficult is this on insane difficulty? It's really not that bad. On my practice run, I died repeatedly, but like on every checkpoint, I think I had a problem. But that's the thing about practice. You practice something and then you improve. You hope that you would improve, and that's why I do that for the videos as well. As few edits as possible. They give you decent cover. I think the only time that you don't have a good cover is that one particular fight at the beginning. But that's the thing too that makes it kind of boring, because there's just no reason to go back into different pieces of cover. You're not mobile enough. But it's just that thing about the strangeness of all of this. I know it's part of the story and everything, and that's perfectly fine, but I guess I can't analyze it too much, and I can't be too hard on the game about that. It's the story and everything, and the narrative. It's basically, I guess, catering to like a 3-year-old or something. I don't know. It's just the humor and the remarks that everybody does. It just seems really juvenile, particularly in this game. But I guess in all the Gears of Wars, they kind of had that. Okay, so this is what is going on here? See, this is the stupidity of, not only are we taking up most of the screen over here, but I mean, I can't even really get comfortable aiming around somebody that's just standing right next to me, particularly spazzing out like that. But yeah, I wish they would make more of an effort to get out of your way. But again, Swarmac, I'm glad they don't make you fight like 2 of these at once. That would be pretty aggravating. You can also, when you're in cover, you can go faster by holding the A button. I do like that feature in Gears of War really well. You could also duck too when you're in cover. You can click in the left stick to duck. And you can also aim around corners like this. I wish they would just let you do that, but I don't believe they're gonna change that for Gears of War 6. Oh, I'm sorry, Gears 6. We can't even have the word "of" in our title anymore. We have to differentiate it from everything. I mean, if you have to go to those lengths to separate yourself from what you're actually doing, I think you have a problem about accepting your identity. I mean, geez. Gears of War 5, it's just funny because they go to such extreme lengths to just be different, and I guess that's fine sometimes, but it's just I think they went a little bit too far in Gears of War 5. In this game, they didn't go far enough, but I think of the 2, I would prefer what they did here. But that is the end of Gatecrashers. I will see you in the final video. Hopefully my anecdotes in this video weren't too bad, but like I said, I'll see you in the final boss. And until then, please take care.